Okay, so it's another reveal video for a group build? Like this quick? Is there any chance he's going to be able to keep up this hectic pace? I suppose we'll find out. What is up, my fellow shenanigans? It is Ajax back again with more Rattle Can shenanigans, and this video is my reveal video for the Street Machines group build hosted by Jason over at Blue Ox Model Shop. And there it is. That's my final on Blue Ox Model Shop's Street Machine group build. The Pro Touring version, or my Pro Touring version of the Camaro Z28 kit. If you've been following along, you know that I actually intended on building two kits because I had two different ideas, but couldn't make up my mind as to which one I was going to do. And due to things I'll explain later on in the video, I actually had to temporarily shelf the other version, the wide body version that I was working on. Anyway, it's a long story, and we'll cover that shortly. But first, let's take a look at this. I will spin you around and give you a chance to look all the way around at the kit before we pull up. I've got a couple of pictures that I'll put in place as well, and we'll talk about the particulars of everything that I've got going on here. So, to cover what I'd done on this, I believe in my last video you'd already seen the stance and you'd already seen the wheels and tire combination that I was using. But for those of you who might not have seen it or don't know, those are 3D printed wheels and tires from Z-Force Model Works. They are the Forge Line 18s and 19s, so they're the Pro Touring Steelies with the GM Poverty hubcaps for 68 and 69. The hood has the L88 scoop that was actually borrowed from a Baldwin Motion kit, and because the Baldwin Motion kit no longer has a hood, I actually picked up a resin Stinger hood to replace the missing hood that I took from that other kit. The colors from Splash Paints, and this is actually Go Mango. It's Go Mango, and it's kind of being a placeholder for Hugger Orange, because Go Mango was what I had on hand when it was time for me to paint this thing, and I figured with the way that I did it, I actually painted this with a pink primer beforehand. So when I laid the Go Mango down, it gave it a very orangey red kind of hue to it, which made me feel like it was a little bit closer to Hugger Orange than it otherwise would have been, or at least that's what I'm telling myself. Some other details to note here. You can see that the front bumper has been painted body color, and then if I go back around to the rear end here, I actually clipped the bumperettes and the overhangs on the side of this bumper here to just to streamline it, and I chromed it as opposed to leaving it body color, just because I wanted something to break up the deck back there when it was blacked out. If the rear bumper had been body color, it just seemed a little bit out of place. The symmetry that the front end seems to have, I think it might just be the fact that on the front end here, you've got the headlights and the fog lights that kind of break things up a little bit and give your eye someplace else to go. Whereas if you come around to the rear end here, you don't really have any place to go besides the license plate maybe. Either way, it just felt better to me having that chrome bumper and the blacked out section by the tail lights. Let's go and take a look at the interior. I will pick you up here briefly, so you'll have to forgive me as things get a little shaky, but hopefully I'll be able to give you a good enough look inside. Alright, so apologies for the less than stellar shot of the interior and the subpar lighting. Unfortunately, with my current setup, this is about as good as I can get it. Fortunately, I did take pictures of the interior before I installed it, so I will include those here while I give a brief rundown of what was included in the process. So when I built this with the idea of it being a Pro Touring Resto Mod, like street machine race car thingy, I decided that I was going to do a rear seat delete, and in its place we added a pair of nitrous bottles. Along with that, we installed a roll cage with racing seats, which were 3D printed and provided by Black Box. We also added the racing harnesses, the 5-point harnesses to those with photo etch to really kind of like cement that look. And then you can also see there in the middle we've got a fire extinguisher, which of course you would need in a race car. All right, so with a closer look at the engine bay, you can see here, as we had discussed in videos prior, this is the LSX engine with the cross ram intake up top, and it's from Iceman Collections. I'd had it in the stash for a while and was looking for a project to use it on, and this felt good. It felt like a really solid and decent fit, so put it in place, and it looks the part. I'm really happy with the finished result. Among other things, in the engine compartment here, we 3D printed a battery and then added photo etch cables and leads to it. We also have a pair of heater hoses that have a photo etch clamp on them, holding them in place. And then lastly, if you can make it out there on the master cylinder and brake booster, we actually have in here a few or a couple of wires. So yeah, the entire bit was wired. Just wanted to dress up the engine bay, have something that looked good, something that really kind of fit the part with the Pro Touring Resto Mod bit, and all that stuff looked to fit the bill. And that's pretty much it for my build for the Street Machines group build, hosted once again by Jason over at Blue Box Model Shop. I want to thank Jason for hosting and putting this out here, mainly because I love the fact that I got a chance to do something like this with the Camaro kit. Been a fan of this kit when I built it years ago, and doing all this crazy stuff that I've been doing with like both this kit and the wide body Camaro to come has really been a blast. I've enjoyed it, and this was a great excuse to kind of let loose and do some crazy stuff. I also want to thank everybody who participated. Those of you who posted videos, those of you who finished it on time. It was awesome watching your videos. It was great inspiration, and I know there were several of you that caught my attention. I thought people did a really, really good job taking their builds to the next level. I'm looking forward to building this, finishing the other Camaro that I've got going on, and looking forward to getting in to this group build next year, provided of course Jason hosts it, because I know as it stands right now, people are kind of burnt out on group builds. There's the whole FOMO thing that's been discussed and what have you. But if we get another Street Machines group build, I definitely plan to be there, and I even like to maybe mess around and finish on time. But that remains to be seen. Anyhow, before I go and I wrap this up, I'm going to briefly cover the other Street Machine group build that I've got and what happened to that particular build. So first things here, I'll put up a couple of pictures so you guys can see just how nice I had the kit painted up. I actually had this ready to go, and like I said, I had jammed on with this, trying to make sure that I got the wide body finished first, because I was really liking the way it was coming together. I really dug the look, the stance. It was great. And so when final assembly came around and it was time for me to glue the windows in place, I actually cracked open my Bob Smith gold super glue, and the top was sealed. It glued itself together. And so I was struggling trying to get that unclogged and get the top off. And for those of you D&D nerds out there, you'll understand when I say when it came to me getting the top off, I buckled down and I rolled a natural 20 on a strength roll, thereby completely ripping the top of the super glue bottle off. Unfortunately, my wide body Camaro rolled a 1 on its saving throw, and it got covered in all sorts of splatters of super glue. Thankfully, my windshield was still in the plastic. It was in the package. Otherwise, it too would have caught collateral damage, and things would have been really bad. But like I said, because I messed around and splattered the thing in super glue and splattered my cutting board in super glue, I had no choice but to take it and strip it paint and start over. And that really took the wind out of the sails. So after I decided to kind of strip it and see where everything lied after it was done, I started working on this kit here, and as it started to come together and I started like really enjoy the detail, it made me anxious to get back to building the wide body as well. And so, like, long story short, the wide body is very much in progress. It is only a few scant moments away. Oh, and I kicked the camera. That's awesome. But that's fine. I'll fix it in post. No, but long story short, the wide body is still very much in progress. It is rounding the home stretch, and I hope to be able to have a reveal video on that sooner rather than later. Anyhow, this is rolling on way too long. I am rambling as per usual, so here's the part where I wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch up with you next time.